I'm going to be honest with you, I don't enjoy driving the car because they don't fit. So, what's funny is that in the Glossit World headquarters, which is also the detail and design studio for the brand, I have various cars. I am actually pretty private about the amount of cars and what I own, just because people like to build stories of what they think you're worth. And I think, Ed, you've shot some videos to kind of clarify, hey, I love cars. Just because I have these cars doesn't mean I'm uber wealthy, right? And I think that was great that you shared that with the audience. But that being said, I do have one car in particular that's in our facility. It's a 76 Pantera. And if anybody knew anything about the Pantera, so a De Tomaso was a car that had that Italian look and design to it. It carried an American motor, which is typically a 351. Some people had a Cleveland, sometimes had a Windsor. It was a preference. But if you thought about the time of the design of the car, I think outside the Countach and the Mirror, these cars were all very unique. Now, this car is probably not the best driving car in the world, but it's the most unique and iconic as far as being ahead of its time in design. And they made different versions of this. And this one that happens to sit in our facility is a GT4. And it's an all-steel body. It's a heavy car. The car was found in, I think it was late 2011 or 12. I call it a barn find. It was in the middle of Nebraska. For a friend of a friend, the car had been somewhat restored, but not perfect. It's been repainted. The paint was single stage. It was completely oxidized. It looked like chalky white. It was like an orange color, like a real orange, like fruit. And I decided to take this project on with a partner of mine to help me create some of the Glossit branding and design. His name is Robert Douglas. He's in Seattle now. And when we found this car, it took a lot of time and attention to get the paint to look correct again. And we were afraid that we were probably going to have to do a whole repaint on this car. But thank God to Glossit and some of the technology and polishing abrasives and paint correction, we're able to spend a few months of color sand and polishing it. And the car today looks like it came out of the factory. I personally didn't find it, but my partner, Robert, my graphics guy who helped develop the brand and Glossit and all the graphics, he found the car. He basically wanted me to go through a various amount of work. And the way I kind of got part ownership of the car was that he got sick and tired of Vegas. He had a big graphic design business. He downscaled it. And then he didn't want to spend any more time on the car, nor did he have a place up in Seattle to store the car. I mean, he completely moved. And it's been sitting with me for 5 years. So, of course, I said, obviously this can't sit here. We have to figure something out. It's occupying space. And he said, cool, let's just become partners on the car. And eventually, if you want, we're in discussions now if I'm going to buy the car. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to buy his portion out because I think it's just a cool car. And I think this would be a car that would be great as we grow right now in our brand. We're looking at 25,000 square feet. We're going to build a custom showroom when you come in with glass windows, like you walk in an exotic car dealership, conference tables, TVs. And I think this could be the car that will sit in there to help tell the Glossit story. And I think it's just iconic because it represents everything that we believe in cars and character and personality. So it could be a keeper. We ceramic coated it in 13. And by ceramic coating it, it made it a base coat clear coat because essentially ceramic coating is SiO2, silicon dioxide, and it's harder, 40 times harder than actually urethane. It's very, very tough. So we coated it, and what it did is it stopped the Pantera paint orange from oxidizing. And this has been years. And typically when a car sits inside, whether it's inside or outside in single stage paint, it'll oxidize. The pigments in the paint will actually start to dull. And this car was unique. We left the interior patina, which means that when we found the car, we didn't really want to clean up the interior of the car because it basically showed the character. And the car interior was in amazing condition, but we made the paint on the exterior look absolutely fabulous. It has some aftermarket wheels on it. It definitely doesn't look like a 1976 vehicle. It looks like out of something today that you would see an exotic or supercar. And we love this car because when we have people come into the facility, whether it's our classes or people coming to get work on their cars or people that just want to view our world headquarters, that car sits in the warehouse and it always draws so much attention. And every time we walk outside in the warehouse and you look at the car, it makes you smile because it represents what an exotic car looked like, the design, the character, the personality. It was just different. And today we still have it sitting. So if you ever come to Vegas and you ever want to come by and visit us, come check out the Pantera. It's very rare, it's very different, and we have a lot of different cars there that you can view. But this is a cool story because I've driven this car many times, and I'm a tall guy like Ed, and I can't say I'm actually comfortable driving this car, but I will tell you that anytime I take it out in public and I do drive it, it always starts a conversation, and they want to know the story behind the car. I think that depending, it could be a keeper forever. There's different cars that I own. There's a GT3 RS Lava Orange that my good buddy, Perrin from Chicago Motor Cars, found me about 1.5 years ago. I'm thinking I'm going to keep that car. I've got an 89 Porsche Speedster that my dad and I bought, the Arctic White. And so I think there's a few cars I'm going to keep. The Pantera, I don't know, it's almost like attached and connected to the business because people have identified it. It's in a lot of marketing material. It's been in a lot of video content. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't enjoy driving the car because they don't fit. I feel like a clown in a clown car, right? It's just, if you've ever been in a Pantera, it's really constricted more than a typical, like some of the old Ferraris, right? You remember when you get in some of these old Ferraris, you were like, hey, I love this car, but I can't get in the car, right? So we'll have to see.
We'd like to thank Patrick Adair Designs for their support of the VINwiki channel this month. Patrick and his team make some of the most amazing rings out of the most exotic materials on Earth. They make rings out of superconductors and meteorites and stardust and all the things that you can imagine, including old parts from broken exotic cars. They've got over 20,000 customers, and Patrick decided to document his journey and the ways that he makes his rings and the cars that he enjoys on his own YouTube channel. So he's part of our YouTube family. He's coming by to tell some stories soon, but check him out at the link in the description below and use the code VINwiki for a 15% discount. Thank them for their support of the channel and find you an awesome ring.